before we even start the cast, we're going some of the smartest and hardest working people are behind. Not because they did anything wrong or because they made the wrong choice. A matter of fact, a lot of these people made the best choice for themselves. But guess what? They can't progress because there's something over their head, and it's called student loan debt. Can I tell you that I had some serious student loan debt, and I know a lot of people who are in some serious student loan debt. And here's another thing as well. There's a flip side to this. Employers are struggling with keeping up with demands of pay increases and different types of benefits to offer. So what do? You have someone who has a ton of student loan debt, they need to live, and you're also an employer that is struggling to offer kind of benefits that'll let your employees stay. What if I told you that there is a way? Now, there's many ways to tackle this $1.7 trillion student loan issue. But could there be a way to tackle this? And so today we are going to talk about one of the many ways to tackle student loan debt. And we are going to talk about Paidly. Welcome to Who's in Your Contacts, where culture, collaborations, and connections collide. I'm your host, Crystal Ellis, and we're back at it again. Today, we have someone amazing on our show. We have the one, the only, Mr. John Scully. What's up, John?
Hey, Crystal, how are you?
I'm doing so good. There's going to be tons of giggles on this and really good leadership knowledge and some great information about Paidly and how to get out of that deep hole of student loan debt, but also as an employer, what you can do to help your employees. So let me tell you a little bit about John Scully. He is the co-founder of Paidly, a fintech platform taking on this $1.7 trillion student loan crisis. That's bold.
It is. Well, it's huge.
It's huge. I mean, and I've had the pleasure of working with you in the past. So you have over 15 years of experience leading operations and technology across healthcare and software. You are known, which I've seen this for myself, of turning complex challenges into real scalable impact. He is the mind behind the One Better philosophy, a powerful approach rooted in the belief that small, intentional improvements create lasting freedom. It's a pleasure to have you.
I'm super excited to be here, Crystal.
Gosh.
I look up to you. So just being here with you and being able to talk about Paidly and even maybe have some laughs, this is just great.
So good. So as many of you know who have been tuning into my shows, we have the I Love You segment. And the I Love You segment is where I talk to the guests that I know very well and tell them why I love them. And so now I'm going to tell John Scully and Terry. Terry, you're in this too. Terry is John's most beautiful and most amazing. Why I love you, Terry. I love you. So I just had to shout you out as well. So why I love John Scully. I was early in my career, fresh out of college, and you're just like an exceptional leader.
Thank you.
And you pay so much attention to detail And during those times when I was, when we were working together and while I was reporting into you, you allowed me to have this freedom to think, to be, to build, and to learn. Through project management, you taught me structure, and the importance of deadlines and customer satisfaction. And I was really new to that space, but that trust allowed me to grow in a way that was significant. Additionally, and for those who may or may not know my story, when I became pregnant with my daughter, what we were told is that she would either die before I give birth to her, or she would die on the day of her birth. And so I had a really difficult pregnancy. I mean, it was really difficult. And I'm going to share that full testimony on another segment. But in a place, I had a lot of doctor's appointments. I was just figuring out life. You actually watched me walk down the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
So you were watching me grow and just
Absolutely.
figuring life out. And in most places, when you have a ton of doctor's appointments and there's uncertainty, but then there's deadlines, we're traveling all across the nation, back and forth. And some employers would say, hey, you got to find another job. But this was not the case with John Scully. He allowed me to take care of myself and be with my family. Even after Brooke was born, I was in the hospital 16 hours plus a day and was still there. And I was still able to complete the work that I needed to complete until it was time that it just got so complicated that I couldn't. But that's how I knew immediately the type of boss I wanted to be. And John Scully taught me that it's people first and it's compassion first. And I was able to not miss not one moment at my daughter's bedside. I didn't feel rushed that I had to get back to it. And that is partly, there's many reasons why my daughter is alive today, many contributing factors. And John Scully and his wife and the work that we were doing together is one of the many reasons why Brooke Ellis is alive today, is because I was able to be at her bedside without interruption. And so that's why I believe in anything that John does, because I know that it's always heart over profit.
Oh, thank you, Crystal. I've always believed in, people, process, and technology, which people's always first. It's 70%.
Mm-hmm.
Without the right people, then you can't do anything.
Yeah.
And then you have process that you put around all of that, and then technology is just there to help you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a helper. That's it.
Yeah.
So, but without the people, the rest of it falls apart.
For sure. Come on. So we're gonna get into it. We go back as coworkers and friends. Hey. All right. What is some of the most memorable moments that we've had?
Yeah, so that's a great question. It's a great question. So I think the one that always comes to top of mind is for my anniversary. You constantly would draw pictures, or you would write poems
as a grown adult,
or sing songs to my wife about our anniversary, which was always some of the best. Of course, the anniversary is important for myself and my wife, but one of the best things was Crystal sending off something and saying, "Oh, here's a picture for you and Terry for your anniversary," or "Could you hand the phone over to Terry so I can sing to her?"
It's the best. I was just like, I love anniversaries. I love love. I love Terry. I love you. And I was just like, how do we celebrate? And I feel like, and mind you, it's not like amazing drawing. It was like stick figure.
Yes, it wasn't something that you'd probably put up at an art festival, but But it was fun.
Yeah.
It was exactly what we needed.
Yeah, that's it. It's just the best time. I was just like, I look back at it and it was just, oh gosh, I had the best times ever.
Yeah, that was a good time. And the funny thing is we were in a dungeon. There were no windows.
None.
No windows, and but we made the best of it. And you know, I guess so the second thing is your positivity. The positivity that you bring has been something that's just been inspiring to me. Earlier I said that, you know, that I looked up to you. It's because of this positivity. It's because of your activism in many, many different ways that has allowed me to then step further into doing some of those things as well. So that's, you know, that's some of the other stuff on a more serious level.
Yeah.
Not that singing in poems and drawings isn't serious, because it is serious. Everyone needs to laugh. But in reality, when we step to it, it's that positivity. It's that ultimate that you're giving nature that, you know, that made me realize it is actually okay to give. It's you don't have to feel bad about giving. You don't have to feel, you know, if it's something you want to do, people may look at you weird, like you want to put that kind of effort into it. But you know what? It just opened me up to allow me to do that kind of stuff.
You've always been so kind and philanthropic and just supportive of just even the efforts that I've had and the nonprofits that I've supported over the years. And the same rings through with even how your children are and how kind and loving that they are, where Brooke's first soccer ball belonged to your son.
Yep.
And we kept that soccer ball for years upon years upon years. So giving is just who you are, and changing the lives of people is just who you are, and how the Scully name, it just is in the atmosphere and will forever be. Talk to us about Paidly and how it's changing lives.
Yeah. So, you know, I think if I even draw a parallel to what I was just saying, it's that being able to give back is where Paidly even comes from. When I had a technology business where we were trying to be a culture first organization, and we were trying to give back to our employees, and, you know, what can we do for you guys? And ultimately, you know, it's what can the employer get out of it as well, right? Because it's a two-sided coin there, the employee and the employer. So we were trying to figure out, how do we give back? How do we make sure that we're a culture first? And, you know, we tried the normal benefits, increasing the normal benefits, and that just wasn't enough. And when I went back and talked to the employees, asking what's going on, a majority of them came back and said, I can't afford the apartment I want or the car I want because I have student loan debt, or I have to save for my kids' eventual student loans. Like there's a toss up. When I was younger, we didn't have a ton of money. You know, I progressively over my 50 some odd years, you know, I got my 2-year degree, and then eventually got my 4-year degree, and then went back and got my master's degree, all incrementally, because I didn't want to go into student loan debt, because every company asks you to have a degree. They ask you. In fact, it's almost a demand at this point. If you don't have a degree,
you ain't got no job.
You ain't got no job. I remember when I was at Xerox. Xerox was like, oh, you don't have a degree? You can't be what they called an engineer. Even though I was doing all the same work, you can't be an engineer. You had to go back and get that degree in order to then hit that next pay.
Yep.
And that next pay isn't that much more. It's not paying for everything that you need.
At all.
We can see, you know, when you go to the grocery store, when you get gas today, like
$5 and something cents as of today. As of today.
It's insane. Like you go and you just can't afford it. So, you know, when I was talking to my employees and student loan debt came up, I was like, okay, what can we do about this? And then in 2020, when COVID hit and the CARES Act came out, they started doing, they started making it so that you didn't have to pay back your student loans right away, the ones that were federally backed. And then eventually the Consolidated Appropriation Act came out, which allowed you, the employer, to put up to $5,250 towards your employee student loans, tax-free for the organization and tax-free for the individual. So that became this big light bulb. We're doing that. How do we set this up? And so we created this manual process. And so we went from watching our employees financially struggle to watching them now suddenly have supplemental payments being put towards their student loans. And one of our employees 2 years later paid off his loans
Wow.
because we were putting money towards them. It's just a big deal. It's huge. Like, as you talked about, $1.7 trillion
That's
problem.
a lot. That's a lot of moolah.
The average person walks away with 40 some odd $1,000 worth of debt.
Yes.
40, and I have a kid that's in college, and I'm talking to him. I'm like, hey, you know what? You're going to end up walking away with debt. So you need to make sure that whatever you make, you can pay. The hope is that maybe you can work in a nonprofit sector where maybe some of it gets written off. But what people forget, the only thing that gets written off is federally backed loans. It's not private loans. Any private loan, it doesn't get written off. And
you're right. I want to talk more about that because everyone is like, oh, well, you could get the public student loan forgiveness, PSLF. That's what it's called.
yes.
So for me, I had over I'm open. I had over 200,000, nearing $240,000 of student loan debt. And every time I looked at that number, because the interest and everything, it wasn't even, no matter how you paid, it wasn't going anywhere.
It wasn't. No, it doesn't.
And to think about in my head, I was like, how am I going to pay this off? I have a home, I have children, I have a medically complex daughter that requires a lot. And just, it was like haunting me. And not many people go into the nonprofit sector. And of course, my loans were just recently forgiven. But that is like this amount of people, because also the part about it is if you don't work for a qualified nonprofit.
Yeah. And that is the biggest thing, that people don't even realize that their nonprofit has to be qualified. And a lot of them can be qualified. They just haven't been.
Yeah.
So if they're not qualified, then those payments, you're not going to get written off. I'm like, it's only about 3 to 5% of applications submitted have been approved.
Yes.
And that number is starting to trickle up, but I have to say there's a little bit of concern with the Department of Education going away. You know, what will happen to those numbers again? And so everyone thinks that that PSLF is just getting, I work for U of R, so I'm gonna get my stuff written off. Well, that's not necessarily the case.
That's not how it works. And you have to be on time with your payments.
Yes.
There are so many stipulations to getting that paid off. It's not the only solution. And most of the time, when we're looking at 3 to 5%, that's how do you know if you're going to be a part of that 3 to 5%?
Yes, exactly. And so, and that's where, an organization like Paidly can be helping individuals. Like if first of all, if your employer's contributing, then we're sort of keeping track of some of that information. You're knowing payments are being made, and we've actually recently implemented a thing where an individual can actually put money in as well. So previously it was all about the employer giving the benefit. Well, now we're like, okay, to help those PSLF individuals, if you actually say out of your paycheck, you want, let's just say Tina has $250 student loan debt. Company A is giving him $100, and she's like, okay, I'll put the other $150 in. We can start making the payment for you, and we can track that the payment was sent and made, and you have one dashboard to have some of that information. It becomes this huge thing, and just another layer. The Department of Education has this great tool out there that you can actually track your application, you can track your progress, but this would be just yet another layer so you can see and say, oh, if they're saying that a payment wasn't made, oh no, I have this over in Paidly to show that it was made and it was cashed and it was applied. So I'm not sure where you're getting your data from.
Okay. And what I'm hearing from people is that this is happening, is that they make a payment or payments and those payments have magically disappeared and there's no way to, even if you pull bank statements and it's just like, okay, well, if you hear from somebody and then everything is changing, oh, you have to get your application in by this certain date to get this kind of benefit.
Yeah.
And then it's moving slow. Where with Paidly, you're saying that they can track every payment. But what if they say, I see this Paidly thing. what's the benefit because I'm already on auto pay?
Yeah, it's a great question. Auto pay has always been nice. It is. You know, if a loan servicer provides auto pay, it's nice. However, there are cases out there that will show you that auto pay gets messed up, whether your payment changes or your the auto pay that you're going through sends it out at the wrong time or what have you. The way that Paidly is working is that we're sending out a month ahead of time. So we're like a month beforehand. So we know well in advance. Whereas with an auto pay, oh, well, my payment's due on the 12th. So I'm having it pull out the 11th or the 12th. And there you go. If there's any kind of mix up whatsoever, guess what happens? You're then now behind.
Yeah. So we're like, say right now, we're talking to Joe. I want to offer my employee benefits. That's a long last name.
Yes, that is. I mean, like, for SATs and stuff, that would have been a lot of bubbles.
Yeah. It would have been a whole bunch. It would have been a whole bunch. So we're talking.
Every time he thinks standard test, he's like,
no, facts. I remember those and them Scantrons.
oh, yeah.
Crazy work. Listen here, we're dating ourselves, but I feel like they just need to throw a Scantron in there somewhere for them kids.
They'd be like, what is this?
And
I don't understand. I have to, a number 2 pencil?
A number 2, and it has to be like the real kind. You can't even, and you have to have a good eraser.
Oh, yeah. Yes, because if it's a bad eraser, then you're just smudging, and then it doesn't know what you act. Did you pick A? Did you pick B? Which one was right? Because if it was B, then I picked B.
For real. It was just like, which one? No, for real. But Scantrons are crazy. So, like, getting to that employer, we're standing in front of that employer's right here, and we're saying, I think you need to offer this to your employees. What would you tell them why this is a great idea to get Paidly and offer it as a benefit?
No, it depends on who I'm speaking with. So there's 2 answers, right? So the normal HR person is going to know she or he is going to be very culture oriented, understanding what's happening with individuals, and know that this is something that's really affecting financial wellness is something that's really affecting their employees. I often talk about financial wellness like a backpack with 50 pounds of rocks in it, and trying to walk around with a backpack with 50 pounds of rocks going uphill, downhill, even on straightaways. It is difficult. And if your employer can walk up and every month just take a small rock out once a month, just take a small rock out. How does that feel after a year? How does that feel after 2 years? The loyalty that you build. And this is what HR people are all about. Like, how do we actually increase productivity through relating to our employees and making sure that they're taken care of? So that's how I talk to HR people. Like, analogies like that and having those conversations. If I'm talking to the bean counters, the CFOs, the CEOs that are all about what's the need behind the need. Do you know that on average, it's 50 to 200% of someone's salary to replace someone or to bring somebody on? So if that person's making $60,000 a year, it's anywhere from $30,000 to $120,000 to bring on a person. And that's not hard costs. Your hard costs are probably somewhere between 10 and 15 to post and try and find people, but it's all that lost productivity.
Yes.
So especially if you're in a business like physical therapists or software engineers, in that you're billing out on a per hour basis, you're losing out. Someone leaves, you're losing out on $90, $150, $200 an hour until you bring that next person in. So there's an opportunity cost that's there, that if you don't fill that position, which is why we range from 50 to 200, from 50 to 200%. So in this particular case, $30,000 to $120,000. It's an insane amount of money when someone looks at that. And if I were to tell you for $100 a month, put towards a benefit, and then the smallest $75 per person fee annually that we charge. So for $1,275, your average person is going to stay, because this is a study that's out there, will stay up to 5 years versus the normal turnover rate, which could be anywhere from 18 months to 24 months. That means you're keeping that person another 3 to 4 years.
Wow. And you think about this is the subscriptions and all of those things that are assigned to a person and licensing, and that person is leaving they might be leaving for a reason that they need to leave, or they might be leaving for better pay, but is it truly better pay? Because they'll go somewhere and they'll make a little bit more, but then that money goes towards something else. Sometimes, especially if you don't have financial discipline, it won't go towards student loan.
Yes.
But if you're working someplace and you have a system like Paidly, and an employer can contribute to it, and I want to get to the other cool part that your friends could contribute to it, and that's life changing.
It is. It is life changing. I mean, if you look at if you went the supplemental route where the employer is giving you $100 a month, so $1,200 a year, that's anywhere between 2 and 4 payments, depending on the average individual.
Mm-hmm.
And so an extra 2 to 4 payments, you're dropping 5 years off of your loan.
Say that again to the camera so the people understand.
You're dropping upwards of 5 years off of your loan.
Wow.
Due to the decrease in interest and then the principal payoff.
I want to talk about friendship
Mm-hmm.
and family.
Yes.
This past holiday, my friends and we were like, hey, girl, what do you want for Christmas? And I was like, give me some money for some stocks and some crypto.
Yeah.
Like that. And was our gift to each other. And we sat back and we're like, well, wow, we're adults and we've like completely grown up, but we're making these financial investments into the lives of each other where, you could buy me a nice spa day or you could get me a cute journal or something like that. But what's the payoff there? And so I want you to explain more about it because I don't want to mess it up. But you call Grandma Sally up and Grandma Sally's like, I'm going to get you a nice blanket. And you're like, yeah, I like the nice blanket. I'm going to get the blanket. But here you could pay towards my student loan debt.
Yes. So I'm going to talk about the fact just for a second that we actually put money towards 529 plans as well. So it's not just student loan debt, it's 529.
And get to that and when you get there, explain that for the people.
Yeah. So 529s are investment accounts for a specified individual. So I have ones for my 2 boys that you can put money in that's actually, you can write it off via New York State tax.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to $5,000. You can write off for New York State tax. And so that money is then sitting in there for them to use towards college. And with recent changes to laws, you can actually put it towards certifications and a plethora of other things. And ultimately, if you don't use it, this is one of the cool things about 529, and then I'll wrap it into the friend stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing is that if you don't use it after 15 years, you can actually roll $35,000 of that over to a Roth IRA. And so those people that don't know a Roth IRA, it's post-tax, so it never gets taxed again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just money that you earn and you're good to go. And so when you're putting money into a 529, it's number one, it helps, bridge the generational wealth gap so that an individual can go to college. They don't have to save up because maybe they can't get a loan for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately it can be rolled over to retirement. And so you're helping save for the future, whatever the future is. So going back to friends, helping friends, which is, we have an app. So Paidly has an app and it allows individuals to socially share out their student loans or their 529 plans. And so the reason why we put this together is when we were talking about Paidly, we're trying to solve this problem. We're not just trying to say, oh, employers, look what you get out of this, but it's about the individual and how do they actually get themselves out from underneath debt. And so one of these ways that you can do it is socially share out via QR code your student loan debt. So you're sitting at dinner and you pick up the tab, it's, $50 and your friend's like, oh, I was going to give you money. You can just say, oh, you can put $25 towards my student loan debt. So, and the one thing that I love, which is, we've been doing is my kids, 18 and 15.
My guys.
So they get Starbucks gift cards, Dunkin' gift cards.
Mm-hmm.
They get, Xbox or PlayStation gift cards.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how many gift cards do you guys need?
Gift cards.
You guys don't need so many gift cards.
Facts.
So start sharing this out. And so people have been starting to put money towards their 529 plan. They can actually just share this out and money gets put towards their 529 plan and boom. Now money's going in. They have it for college. Andrew has it for college. And 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 Danny will when he gets there, and
Yeah.
and if they don't use it, like I said, it rolls over to retirement, and it's such a powerful tool. Um, we worked with a company in my financial, my other company, my tech company. We worked with a company that was helping individuals um, find gap loans.
Mm-hmm.
They're no longer in business anymore, but they were trying to help uh, less uh, less privileged individuals find gap loans because,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
when you were going to school, if
Mm-hmm.
suddenly there was $5,000 that you needed or $6,000 that
Yes.
you needed, like, and you're like, where is that money coming from? And that's what this company had done. And so our hope is that if people are putting money towards 529 plans, that they
Yeah.
have that. They don't have to worry about that last $5,000. It's in
Facts.
there. I get all excited and I start talking really fast. And
But this is really good because it's about so Paidly is about legacy,
yes,
right? So it is solving a now problem, and now it's also solving a future problem.
yes,
Nobody 15 years from now, the average person with average knowledge of how the world works, could have predicted where we are today. And the world is changing rapidly. By the year 2030, we are going to be in a totally different economic kind of situation. And so I say this to people all the time: to not plan for your future is being wicked to yourself and wicked to the people that you love.
I agree. And it's two-sided. Once again, it's for the individual and back to the employer. If you're not planning for the future, like with your employees, making sure they're going to stick around, then you're in trouble. And we've designed this new, I guess you could say, paradigm of how benefits are out there. So progressive growth and instant benefits. Your protective benefits came around in World War II, where organizations were trying to steal people from one company to the next.
Yeah.
And so the federal government put a moratorium on some of this. And so what companies did is, because there was a demand for it, they started giving benefits like health insurance and dental insurance. And that's what made people jump from one job to the next.
Okay.
And so, and that was, like I said, World War II time. And then you hit late 1970s, early 1980s, your growth benefits hit big time. Your growth benefits, which is your IRAs, your 401ks, because those were all the things that everyone wanted, that you needed it. And now those two things are expected. We've hit this new day and age, and the individuals that are out there graduating today, they don't care about health insurance.
They sure don't.
And honestly, most people are not caring about 401k, especially when you first
a lot
get
of
out
them
college.
are. Yes.
They're interested in what's called the instant benefit, or what we've called the instant benefit. What are you doing for me today? How does this affect me today? And so it's the gym membership. It's, I'm going to give you $50 a month towards gym membership. It's the pet insurance that, it affects me, because then you can actually take your pet, and then ultimately it's your student loan repayment as a benefit, because you see that benefit today. You see how things are changing today. And those are those instant benefits that everyone is starting to demand. And if employers aren't looking for it in the future, and if an individual, when they're looking at a job, isn't saying, well, how is this going to make my life better? Because we don't live to work. We don't live to work. We work to live, because we need to be able to, you need to have that work-life balance. And you're not just doing it. You don't just get up every day just to go to work. You're going to work because you want to be able to do something for yourself and for your family. And when I look at Paidly, when I look at what we're doing there, you talk about a legacy. I want my kids to be proud of who we are. We talk about the one better philosophy. How do we get better? One incremental, one tiny thing at a time. Like, how do we help little by little by little? And this is, these two pieces inside Paidly are just the start. The hope is that we can start to convince employers to give money towards housing, to give money towards medical debt.
That's right.
But, right now we're focused on student loan debt, because
I know you're going to do it.
It's a huge problem.
I know you so well that, like, watch, it's gonna pop out like next week. Like, and this is what we got, because people are always on your mind, and this is a great pivot into entrepreneurship and leadership. You are like the bomb.com at startup work. What would you say to a person who wants to do a startup and they just don't know where to start? What advice would you give to them?
So there's a couple different things, like assuming this individual knows what they want.
Yes.
Yeah, they know what the business is. You really have to know who your ideal customer profile is. You need to know who it is that you're selling to, and you need to know what you're selling. Everyone talks about an elevator pitch and being able to walk into an elevator and within 2 or 3 sentences get across what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's not always the easiest, but knowing who you should be talking to is important. Knowing who you should be talking to is important. I think number 2 is that it's a roller coaster. There's going to be some really high highs and some really low lows.
Talk about them, because they need to know. Because a lot of times there's this unicorns and glitter effect where it's like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm rich tomorrow.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is messy and hard.
Mm-hmm. You want to get real?
Yes, please. Because
Okay,
entrepreneurship, I know entrepreneurship is hard.
Yeah, we'll get real. So right now, I don't take a salary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't take a salary because I want this business to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of me getting paid right now, I'm putting all my time and effort into the business so the business can flourish. And that money that would be normally paying me goes towards everything else that needs to happen.
It just goes back.
It just goes right back in. So that's I'm not saying it's a low
startup
low.
life.
That's not a low, but it is startup life. You
That's
have to
startup
be prepared
life.
not to get paid. You have to be prepared that it'll get really tight at times.
It sure does.
And then suddenly, pow.
Yeah.
Suddenly, pow.
Yeah.
And
it's
you're
like, what?
You're like, there's like suddenly this bubble that like, what just happened? And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm getting the tingles right now. It's like you suddenly are like, oh yeah, you're in
Yes.
euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
And you start singing and you're like, yeah, you're dancing around.
Yeah.
Because you made one sale. You made one sale. You're like, look at me.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah, we're out here. To the entrepreneurs out there, like, stick with it and pivot when you have to.
Mm-hmm.
I love the people I have on the show. I love you all because we are very real people. And talking about those highs of highs, like I've had years where it's like we are having $60,000-$70,000 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to a $3,000 month and you like, ooh, what just happened?
Yep.
And because the company that you're working with can no longer afford the contract or federal changes.
Mm-hmm.
And so where the money was flowing before, the money is no longer flowing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're constantly investing in your business to make it better. And it's not that you did anything wrong. When you're having a startup, and if you're broke up front, you're actually doing something right if you are investing every cent back into the business.
Yes, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's okay. It's okay to take that second job if you need to, because you need a little bit of money.
You're dang right.
But on the same token, you need to be putting your blood, sweat, and tears in.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not, if you can sit back and say, well, I could have done this or I should have done that, then you're not putting enough in. It takes a lot to start it off. It takes a lot to push it. But at the same point, it's going to sound contradictory, but you do have to make sure that you breathe a little bit.
Yes.
You have to be proud of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was on, there's no newspapers anymore, but if it was the headline of the newspaper, if you were on the Crystal, podcast here, who's in your contacts, and you had to start talking about what you did you do everything you could? Yeah. Because if you're saying, well, I could have or I should have, and it's not one of those things that it was a top priority, you have to just make sure that you're doing it all. Yeah. You have to try it. Yeah. And don't be afraid to fail, because
you have to fail.
Then you know that this isn't working.
Facts. Because let me tell you, your girl over here failed a whole bunch of times.
It's not easy out there.
It is not easy out there. But those wins, a part of also what helped me in knowing that I wanted to be an entrepreneur is when we would travel to Florida. Mm-hmm. And that freedom and just being able to see entrepreneurs at work. I was like, I want to do this. And also seeing the highs and lows of it all, and it didn't scare me away. So go for the gold. Open the business. Um, and if in your time of whatever your beliefs are, prayer, meditation, or nothingness, and you feel like you need to go for the gold and quit your job, well, make sure you're hearing right, but do it. But if not, hey, get a job and build your business at the same time. Here is the life hack. Listen to me closely. If you are an budding entrepreneur and you cannot afford to not have, if you cannot afford to run your business 100%, when you do find a job that aligns closely with your business because you are learning a skill. You're learning a skill that you will take into your business. So if you are in fashion design, go work for a department store so you can learn merchandising so that you could see what sells and what doesn't sell. If you're if you're working in healthcare, go work in that area of healthcare. Don't do something that is completely different. That's the life hack, because then that is on the job training so that you will not make certain mistakes in your business, because making mistakes or missing the mark as an entrepreneur is very costly.
Yeah, I agree. I think the other thing I would add is hire fast, fire faster.
Yes. Yes.
It is really easy to find someone that you to mesh with than it is to let that person go.
Yeah.
If they're not doing their job, if it's not working out, you have to let them go.
That's it.
If you want to give them a chance in a year from then, when you can actually, the business can afford it, that's fine. But hire fast, fire faster.
That's right. This is like, there's heart and then there's business.
Yes.
And like, even in any interview or any staff that I hire, I tell them the non-negotiables up front so they're not confused later. This is what it is. This is where we are, and this is what we need. Do you sign on to this? And then even quarterly, or when we have our big meetings, or when we have, very honest about where we are. And if they're not performing, an employee that doesn't perform is costing the business.
It is. It 100% is.
So, like John said, hire fast, but fire if they're not doing what they need to do. And when you do, and especially if you know that you're giving them the tools to be successful, when everything is aligned and they're still not lining up, you have to make some critical decisions. That is that's so good. Also, if you're out here hiring family members, you better be comfortable with firing them jokers too.
Oh, 100%.
That is disaster.com.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's family members. It's really tough to bring them on, and that, because if you have to let them go, guess what happens? It's there's strife that usually comes.
You still
from
got to
it.
see them at Thanksgiving dinner.
You do, yep.
And you fired that joker,
and you let them go, and they're like, "Can't believe you let me go." Well, were you doing your job?
Yeah.
Well, I thought I was. We've had like 5 conversations. You did not do.
You did not do the job, and in some, there's healthy family work environments because there's family-run businesses. But then there's also where it doesn't work out, and there's this sense of entitlement. You're in the middle of a meeting, and somebody walks in and be like, "Hey, sis, whoa, like, what is going on? I'm your sis, but not here."
Yeah.
There has to be a level of respect. So
Absolutely.
when you are having a startup, or when you are thinking about hiring people who are close to you, that is something that you got to think about, because they could cost you more than they can make you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's get into family and faith. You are you are an incredible father and husband. And you are like startup genius, entrepreneur, just doing all of the things. But one thing I remember about you, you would never miss an event with your wife, and you would sure as heck not miss some lacrosse games.
That is absolutely true.
How and why is that so important? Because there's people who get into business And they say they get their why is their family, but they forget their family along the way. And you haven't done that.
Yeah. So it would hope that most people that are getting into it, let's say it's for their family, it is 100% for their family. And it's a slippery slope. If I don't do this, then maybe I won't be able to provide that.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you think about family, they're not looking for how much money you're bringing in. They're not looking for what success that you have. They celebrate the highs with work with you. But they're more affected by the lows.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not actually providing additional highs outside of work in providing, I don't know, that guidance or just being there, that support, then, ultimately they're going to see a whole bunch of lows at work and there becomes strife and there becomes a barrier goes up. When I worked, you talk about Florida.
Mm-hmm.
For Florida, I went there for a year and a half. A year and a half, I would leave either Sunday night or Monday morning, come back Friday night or Saturday.
Yep.
My kids thought that I owned a plane and had a hotel. And that my wife had the house. So when I would come home, they'd be like, this is mama's house. Right. And it was at that point, as I was progressing through this and I was learning a lot and I was, I was helping that organization but it came to a point where I'm just like, this isn't it. Like I'm missing out. I am missing out. They're missing out. We are missing out. So, the number one thing I would say is don't miss out. I mean, it should just be something inside of you and it's there and it's saying, well, maybe you should be there. I enjoyed all of Andrew and Danny's lacrosse games. I enjoyed going to the basketball games. I enjoyed all these different things just because you see the joy that they're experiencing. And if you're not there to see their joy and see their highs and those extra highs on the outside, then, they're not going to want to be around for your highs and lows.
My God. Who has impacted your life? Who has we talked about your family. Who outside of your life has just like that person? I am who I am because of this individual saw me.
Yeah. So, I talked about how, with you showed me some stuff. And so I do think, and not because this is your podcast, because it's easy to say, well, it's Crystal. Forget my wife. It's all Crystal.
I love me some Terry. That's Terry, I'm gonna sing to you again on the camera for you.
No, but I mean, going back to you for a second, your perseverance, your persistence, your ultimate love to give back and your love for, you put your heart into everything. So, that's been a huge inspiration for me. And then my wife and my kids, it's, without her, like I just talked about the fact I'm not taking salary without her, without her buy-in on this and, and her want and know that this is, this is something that it's not about the salary. It's about giving back to individuals and how do we make it so that people can pay down their student loan debt or put money into 529s. Without her support, without the kids' support and all of this, I have a T-shirt and I should have brought it and so I can show you my younger son, did a design for the back of one of my T-shirts.
What?
My older son wears his Paidley stuff around Fairfield campus all the time.
I wear Paidley stuff all the time. I sure do. If you catch me in the gym, I got me a Paidley shirt on, guaranteed.
Yeah.
You see me running errands, guess what? I got a Paidley shirt on. I do. And I wear it with pride.
Thank you.
Because I know who's behind it. Yeah. I like,
yeah. Well, and then, ultimately, I grew up Catholic. Not saying I'm not Catholic anymore. I believe in God and I know that God's got my back. And so,
facts.
And so, just take a deep breath and it was that movie, I think it was Noah, where Morgan Freeman talks about the fact that, when you pray to God for courage, he just doesn't give you courage. He gives you the ability to be courageous. Gives you those opportunities. And so that's, when I think about God and all the opportunities that I have received, in the people around me that I've received because of, because we have this higher power. I mean, that, I guess that's some of it too,
That's all. That's some of it. That's all of it. I mean, for me, me and Jesus Christ of Nazareth is real cool.
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm so grateful to have you on the show. You ready for rapid fire?
Sure.
Let
me take a deep breath.
Okay. Would you rather have me sing or draw?
Sing.
Oh, come on. You heard that, Ricardo?
Ricardo's gonna kill me. Sing? Really?
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Sneakers or them really nice dress shoes? Sneakers or dress shoes?
Ooh, so on a regular basis,
yeah,
sneakers. But when I want to go out and impress, it's the dress shoes all day long.
Yo, facts. All right. If you had 100 right now, you leave here. What's the next thing the next purchase you think you're gonna make?
I was thinking about getting flowers for Terry, but now it's not. Well, actually, she's not going to see this before I get them.
Oh, so. Yeah. All right, so all right, so get the flowers.
Okay.
Get the flowers. One word of how you're feeling for the future.
Optimistic.
Yeah, me
optimistic.
Too.
Optimistic, and it's how can you not be?
Yeah,
there's so many opportunities out there. You just have to grab them.
There is truly hope for the future.
There is.
And with that said, there is hope for the future. And so if debt, especially student loan, if it's breathing down your neck, there's a solution for that. Hey, you know what? Call your employer and tell them about Paidly and say, hey, we want some benefits. And this is a great benefit. I'm so grateful for you, John. I'm so grateful to just have this opportunity to be with the folks that I love. And I'm grateful to just help to change lives. So again, thank you for tuning in to Who's in Your Contacts. And until next time, remember to love each other because love is a currency well spent. Later, y'all.
Hey friend, thanks for tuning in to Who's in Your Contacts, where culture, connection, and collaboration collide. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen so you never miss an episode from your favorite business bestie, Crystal Ellis. By the way, want some Crystal exclusives or a chance to work with her? Visit elliskconsulting.com to drop a note or follow her on Instagram at The Culture Broker. See you next time, and remember to show up as the best version of yourself today.